Hey Noni, hey Michelle, how are y'all doing?
Hey. I cannot do video. It's gonna make me kick out again.
Peter, you look so different, or maybe I just forgot what you look like because I haven't seen you in so long. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all doing?
I am good.
Good.
I'm still maintaining my fabulousness, so we're good.
Good. There's Chris.
Hey, Mr. Peter, how you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Oh, doing good. I'm having. This internet must have flashed. Oh, I don't know why my camera quit.
So, everyone, I can't stay in for the whole session. I have a DEIB meeting in about 20 minutes. So, I will say hi to whoever's joining. Welcome everybody and thank everyone already. So, and then I will go. Is that okay? You won't hold it against me?
Nope.
No, Miss Nomi.
Thank you. You're all too kind. Michelle might hold against me, but it's okay.
Are you girl back?
So,
I'm wondering where Rashida's at because this is supposed to be her book launch, but she's not here.
yeah, she just sent me the link. I'm trying to.
She messaged me and told me she was live, and she brought me on
Yeah.
stage, and that's why I exited. It was like, this ain't the backstage I'm used to.
Can you guys hear me?
There she is.
I have been talking for 5 minutes and didn't even know I didn't add myself to the stage. I added all of you, but didn't add myself.
Oh my goodness.
Live and learn. That's okay. Anyway, yes, this you're right, Peter. Was to is to promote my book that I'm a part of. Michelle is also a part of. Noni, I believe, is a part of. A lot of our friends are part of this same book.
Cool.
And basically, without spoiling it, it's about overcoming adversities, mostly within the mental health space, because I know most of us, if not all of us, have been affected by some event in life that has caused some type of mental health issues. And I believe, it's my own belief, but that we need to have more conversations like this, these books, events, talk shows, podcasts, movies, whatever media that comes about to even more awareness for mental health issues, social injustices in the world, things that would really help people no matter where they are in the world. And this book is our way to start that process. So I'm not going to reveal what each chapter is about more than that. Just keep it general so I don't spoil it for you guys. And once you read it, you'll be like, oh, now I get it. Yeah. Michelle, did you want to give any other insights since you are part of the same book with me?
Really concur everything that you just said. Thank you for doing this today. Kind of throwing it in. I do apologize. I can't be here the whole time. But no, it's I think that when they start reading, because obviously we've gotten, to play with each other's chapters, it's I think that a lot of the people reading it are going to be surprised at what a rebel truly is versus the societal norm of what it is expected to be. If that makes sense.
That's just it right there. Is we're challenging that, I don't want to say status quo, but preconceived notion of what should be and changing that narrative, especially the stigma around mental health. We don't have to be hide in a closed room behind closed doors, be ashamed, cry by yourself type deal anymore. We're coming together in these communities, and you all know by now, we've found our voice. We exercised our bravery to come forth and tell our stories. And it's not that we're going to get judged for it. No, 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 no. We're not going to get judged for it. We're going to help others empower themselves so they can find their voices. A lot of them are still suffering in silence, don't even have the courage to reach out, never mind be like, you know what, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to have a cathartic experience right here, the therapy of releasing it by talking, writing, this kind of thing, so once we can help people to get that realization that, okay, you can speak up, you can talk about it, you're not ashamed, not guilty, none of the negative emotions that have often surrounded mental health issues, none of those exist anymore. We're burying them in the past. So each project we're a part of like this is just going to open their eyes more across the world that, you know what? The way we used to think about things is not anymore. That's prehistoric. That's ancient. Let that junk go. Yeah, it is junk. Let it go. And then they will be open and receptive to, oh, now it's cool to talk about things. It's cool to be healthier. It's cool to do this. And people will be in the habit or culture of embracing healthier lifestyles, whether that's your mental health, your physical health, the whole holistic health in general, your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit, all that combines to make you one being, one entity, one person. And
Mhm.
so the more we make people aware of that on a global level, I believe that is our chance to change the world. Always say you want to change the world. Well, this is how. And I'm sorry for rambling on. Peter,
Rashida.
Michelle,
Can I
anybody?
ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you streaming this on LinkedIn and YouTube, or is it just us right now talking to ourselves?
It is streaming. I should have told you guys that. Sorry. It is
We
streaming.
can't find it on either
Yeah.
platform.
There is not.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it will record it later then. I'm not sure. But it is supposed to be streaming on StreamYard, LinkedIn, YouTube, those at least those three. If not, then it's probably going to be a recording later on LinkedIn. So whatever you say, yes, people can hear it, potentially see it.
I need
I
to go.
forgot
My
to tell you.
dog is freaking out. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay, I forgot to tell you that. So thank you for reminding me, Noni.
Of course. I'm looking at your profile right now. But please feel free to continue the conversation.
Sure, thank you. And welcome, Chris. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you had left and came back in for whatever reason.
Yeah, my camera quit, and then when you came on, I didn't hear nobody, so I left and cleared everything out, and then repasted and came back because that's the only way I can get it to work is pasting the link in, and because I got to go through Safari, it won't go through Google. I don't know why. And
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
Google
I'm glad you
Meeting
got
does.
it.
Yeah, Google Meeting does me the same thing. When Chris sends it to me, I got to do the same thing. But that's
Okay.
okay.
Well, welcome to the conversation. I don't know how much you heard. Did you hear anything about like changing the world and what the book's about?
I ain't heard nothing because I wasn't here. I just came back in at the. I
Well,
come
just to
in
reiterate,
when you
not
said
to
something
bore you,
about
Peter
change,
and
and that was
Michelle and
it.
Noni, I know you guys already heard this, but for my brother Chris here, the book that Michelle, Noni, and I are part of, there's several others in our circle that are part of it, but we're just the top names right now that are in this particular live stream. We have written stories about our personal experiences with adversity, particularly how that has affected our mental health. And that's where we got the theme of the book called A Rebel with a Cause, because a rebel, by definition, is someone who challenges authority, challenges the preconceived notions in society of what you should be, how you should act, and things like that. And then we grew up and worked on ourselves and developed ourselves enough mentally, spiritually, emotionally to be like, you know what? No, we're not susceptible to society's way we should live. We are going to embrace the way we believe we should live based on our souls, our hearts, our minds, and our health. And so each little chapter is each of our personal story about that theme. And that book that has all these chapters in it, they're offering it as a free ebook today, available on Amazon, which you guys should see the links on my LinkedIn posts and Michelle's LinkedIn post, Noni's LinkedIn post. Like we've literally all posted all over the internet today, trying to get the word out that it's for free. You can just download it and read it. And then if you are so kind to download it and read it, if you could leave us a review on the Amazon, that helps us to get like more exposure, especially as first time authors. I know myself, this first time I wrote something that's, publicized, other than like a magazine, but this is like a bigger scale than a magazine. And it's not that I want fame or notoriety. I want people to be aware. The more people that read this book or any other project we're a part of, is the more people that become aware that there are resources out there that they can change their life if they want it. They can change their life if they're open and receptive and willing to do the internal self work that it takes to conquer those demons, because we all have demons. We all do. No matter how perfect you think your life is, you struggle with something. It wouldn't be life otherwise. So that's in a nutshell what this project is about. You guys have any feedback on that? Go right ahead.
Well, that's good. We need to change because I think, we need to change ourselves and change the way we've been brought up, because a lot of us are brought up to hold a lot in. And I think where it comes in is we don't express our feelings, and we go through a lot as in mental health is what you're saying. And we go through a lot. So, and I know I've been through a lot and I've held a lot in, and I'm just now coming out with a lot I've been holding in because I did this in Miss Shana's room. And I've been through domestic violence too. So what I've been through, what I have done. And I think our parents and grandparents teach us not to express what we are feeling, and we're supposed to hold it in. And Peter, you know this too. As men, we're not supposed to express nothing, and we're supposed to hold it in. We're not supposed to cry. But I think that's wrong because we taught this, and I think what you and Naomi and Michelle has done is something great. And I'm gonna try to download the book, but I feel we as men too should be able to express our feelings and what we are going through instead of holding it in. And I think that would help a lot of mental health and help a lot of people that hold so much in, and then they get these thoughts about suicide, and then if they could just express and not. And I think we do need a big change in our world, and it does. And y'all on the right track. Miss Rachida.
Thank you, Brother Chris. Amen. I want to welcome Miss Leslie. How are you, sister?
We all need to do it Chris. From the heart. That's what I wanted to say last. But go ahead, baby. I'm sorry.
Yes, I just want to jump in real quick. I'm going to have to get ready to go. My little is ready, and I have to get her to therapy. So, see, there we go. More mental health. I got to keep it going. Yes. But I thank you for this. And then I hope that I'm going to see you this evening as well. And Miss Lily, I hope I see you later too.
Thank you, Michelle. Good luck with the appointment. And you're right. Therapy is part of that mental health. So please do not delay.
No, yes, I'll see you guys this evening.
See you. Peace and blessings, sister.
Yeah, Noni had to go do her DEI room too, so she had to head out.
Got you. Welcome, Lily. How are you? Can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
Thanks for coming. And Lily is part of our team as well. She's been so involved in so many projects we've got going on. And be sure to follow her page because she's got a lot of exciting resources to share with us. And again, most of the stuff we do is for free. You're going to find an ebook for this, an ebook for that, an ebook for this, a podcast for that, an audio room for that. We all have the same goals, is just helping the world, whatever way that comes about. So, Miss Lily, if you want to go ahead and add something, chime in, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for having this room and for inviting me to this space. And absolutely, I honestly have a lot of free resources to heal, because I am actually a quantum light language healer. And everything that I do is truly aligned to my current soul purposes. And one of them is actually to heal the collective. And so I do have a lot of free resources out there that will basically help you release any dense energies and negative emotions that is no longer serving you, because sometimes we do have these dense energies or negative emotions that are here to teach us certain lessons, even though we don't want that. However, I'm here to help you release any dense energies that's no longer serving you, that you happen to be storing in your body. And definitely my free resources, you can, it's absolutely available to everyone on YouTube. And I have it on TikTok and as well as Facebook too. And of course, audio rooms, right? LinkedIn audio rooms that I come on live 4 times a week. So definitely, if that's something that you're looking for, to release any dense energies that's storing in your body, that is often may make you feel discomfort. You know how when you go to the doctors and you're like, I have no idea. Like the doctors did all the tests and the doctors are like, I really can't really tell you exactly what is wrong. So generally, most likely, if that is the case, of course, do your due diligence, go to the doctors And if the doctors often will say, I'm not really sure, then it's probably energetic energy that is stuck in your body. So yeah, I definitely want to let you know that that is something that's available.
Thank you, Miss Lily. That's been my experience, to be quite truthful, is that I did XYZ tests known to me and under the sun, $12,000 against my credit later in medical debt because of it. And they're like, we know you have migraines, but we don't have a medical cause of those migraines. Well, maybe not medical in the physical body, like thank God it's not cancer or something serious, right? But I came to terms and grips with it's from my anxiety, the panic attacks, because that triggers into headaches, triggers into upset stomach, triggers into uh, shakiness, numbness, a whole host of symptoms that were otherwise unexplained medically. They couldn't figure it out. They were like, you're healthy, you're young, there's nothing wrong with you. Yes, there is, you just can't see it. And that's what it is a lot of these illnesses that stem from mental issues are invisible. Because if you just look at me and I'm like, oh yeah, perfect, everything's fine, you will never know that I don't feel well, that I'm hurting, that I'm sick, that I'm dizzy, or whatever. And that's what happens with a lot of people. They hide it. They sit in silence, they hide it. They were like, if I admit this, I'm going to be weak. I'm going to be ashamed. Oh, I should be guilty because I'm telling everybody about this. They got their own problems. No, we need to stop feeling that way. We need to be comfortable enough to reach out, be vulnerable enough to reach out. Because you know what? If you don't reach out, you're never going to get the help you need, let alone hoping to help others. You've got to help yourself first. As hard as that is, I know it's hard. It's not easy. You have to take some real soul searching and bravery to do that. But once you do, oh my God, I can promise you, your life is going to be a zillion times better. Even the first 2 days, like I saw such an improvement. And it's really worth it for yourself and for others. So, yeah, thank you. Peter, Chris, you guys want to add anything?
You're so right on the point, Miss Rachida, about what you just said. You're so right because it goes back to what I said earlier before Miss Lillian came in. It goes back to what I said earlier. We taught that from everybody's culture and nationality is different, but we taught that as young kids, and as we grow up, we've taught that not to say what we're feeling or what's going on because everybody's gonna look at us like we weak or what's wrong with us. Something wrong because we're expressing our feelings. And I've learned that in, I think, the last 6 months out of Shayna's room. I've learned that and talking to you and Peter's given me some good insights too. And I have learned to come out. And I tell you what, it's been hard. It has been hard and it's come from my heart because I have been through a lot and never expressed nothing that I've been through. I've been through my auto accident, set me back, and then I went through domestic violence, and sleeping with a gunman. It's just looking over my shoulder, and then finally I was able to come to peace because she's passed away, and that's the wrong way to become peace and forgive it. But that was the only way I could after she passed away, and I had been through a lot, and then coming to find out this year when I went through the x-ray with my doctor for my neck, come and find out that the only vertebrae that I don't have infused was vertebrae 1, 2 through 7, and all right here in the front is all one, and that what makes it so hard for me to swallow. And when I get these migraines, he said something about in the back of my head where the vertebrae 1 is, there's a nerve there that's been caused from the accident that caused it. And there was some kind of shot that they could give me in my neck to correct it. And I refused it. I told him, no, I'm not going to go that route. I'll just maintain the way I am. And I have found machine. It's called Neuro. When you put on your arm, it's like electric shock. And I tell you, it helped me. It really helped me to slow down. And actually, I haven't had a migraine headache in about the last 3 months since I used the machine.
Thank God.
And it's right. And you're right. And we've taught that we can't come out and share and tell people what I feel just because they're going to think we're the low. We feel like we're the lowest person on the totem pole because we're saying, and we don't know what their feelings are either because they don't share and they think, well, they're looking at you funny, and you're right.
Mhm. Yeah, we need to stop hiding, just be our true selves. And the
Right.
people who love us unconditionally, like the folks here in this room, will continue to love us unconditionally forever, no matter what we say, do, feel, think, anything. It's just your true friends. You're more than friends. I call you guys family because you are. You're my family. I can say that. And that you will stick by each other through the long haul no matter what. That doesn't go away just because, oh, you're having some kind of situation, or I'm having a situation, or, oh, I'm sick today, or the sky is blue. Like, it doesn't matter. We still love you and you still love us. Nobody takes that away. Nobody.
No,
So
we
we
have a
need to
good
realize
safe
that.
room here. You're right, and
Yeah.
and just like was just this past weekend, and was it no? Whenever you and I talked, and I couldn't. I just was so overwhelmed because it was my birthday. That's what it was. My birthday weekend, and I was just so down because I had my wreck 46 years ago, and I come home in '78. Well, in '79, my older sister passed away, and it was on my birthday. It was on my birthday, and we buried her on my birthday, and that was the hardest thing. So because when
Oh,
Mom celebrated her birthday, we was together because she was on the 19th and I was on the 31st, so we just did it together, me and my older sister. And it's hard because I do miss her a lot, and I could go to her and we could talk and things would be ironed out. But it was my birthday weekend, and I didn't celebrate because it was just thinking of her and went down to the grave just to pay some stuff to her. But it was hard. But I've been dealing with it. But to talk to someone, I was taught not to, but I've learned now to share and let it go.
I must say, I'm very proud of you, Chris. It took a lot of bravery to get to the point where you are now, where you are talking on our rooms and events and things like that. That's a lot of bravery and a lot of personal growth that I see from you in the last few months since we've known each other. So, for that alone,
Thank you so
kudos,
much.
my brother. You're
Yeah,
welcome. I know
thank
it's not easy, but you're
it's
healthier for it already, even just this little time you've been doing it. Imagine if you keep doing the rest of your life like that.
Yeah, when we talked about the rooms, and Peter was part of this insight too. Give him
Mhm.
some big credits for that, And I got my room going. The room wasn't about me. The room was about getting parents to talk to their teenagers as they growing up and getting into life. Because if I had listened, y'all know my story, and talk to their children as teenagers that when they get, walking and riding, that car is just as dangerous. And I learned that from my mistake because I was just fooling with the radio. And it made me think a lot because God made me think a lot. If and I and I and I wasn't no drinker. I was not an alcoholic. I wasn't no drinker. I didn't drink alcohol, but it made me think if I had been drinking, what would I have had to live with for the rest of my life if I would have hit some innocent person that was driving, a young teenager or an elderly couple, and injured them or even taken a life, but knowing that it was my life that is sitting here now the way I am because I didn't listen to what my mom and dad was saying. Graduating high school, I had it all planned. Military, 46 years I would have had, but it didn't go that way because I had the accident on the 17th. But if I had listened, maybe it wouldn't have happened here. Maybe it would have happened while I was in the military. But if I would have listened and learned from what my dad's mistakes was, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And that was the reason I made my room was to please get parents, teach your children, make them understand, hey, mom and dad has been there. It's okay. You can go out and have fun, but make that fun respectable and respect and make sure that it is safe that you're doing it. I'm not trying to tell no one how to raise their children. I'm just asking and suggesting, please. Your children are graduating high school. They're going to go to college. They're going to do the same thing because it's in our genes, it's in our blood. We're going to follow what our parents do. And that was the reason I made my room. And y'all, Rachida and Peter, y'all gave me the big thing to go out and do it. And I'm really honored by what y'all pushed me to do. And y'all believe in what I can do. And my wife is my biggest support behind it all. If it had not been for y'all, I wouldn't be here today to share what I got that I've been holding a lot in because I was taught from my parents not to say anything because people are going to make you look that small. And I don't mean come and dump no load on y'all's room.
Oh no, Chris. This is what it's
but
about. Being here
but
for each
but
other.
but you brought this is what you and Nomi and y'all did is something good because we do need to make a change in our kids. We need to make them listen. You got to fool with something, stop. Find you a safe place so
Mm-hmm.
no one hits you, so you don't cause an accident for your own self.
Mm-hmm.
Don't talk on these cell phones. Put them down. Put a feature in these cell phones that when they ring, it sends them to a voicemail so they can't uh, be answered, you know. And I lost 4 buddies because of them going out and having fun. And the only person walked away from the accident, well, 2 people walked away from the accident, was the driver and the one that was at work. 4 of my buddies got killed because they wanted to go out and have fun. And now 2 people got to live with because they took 4 people's lives by wrapping a car around a tree just to wrap around. And I hit a tree fooling with a radio, just fooling with radio because I was going to play music. And I've been having a lot of thoughts because I realized that all came back because I lost 4 buddies because one buddy was at work and gave his keys to his best friend so they could go and have fun. And they were and they were driving and he was speeding and they thought it was fun and they kept saying faster, faster, and he kept going faster and coming a curve and lost it, flipped it, and wrapped it. Until today, the mark is still on the tree. Still on the tree right there. And that happened the year before we graduated high school. And now he's got to live for the rest of his life. He took his brother's life and 4 of his best friends' life. And the guy that gave him the keys got to live with what happened. And that made me think a lot after my accident. That could have been somebody I could have done that to just because I wanted to change the station on the radio to find something music that I didn't like that didn't sound good and just to veer off the shoulder of the road. But if I had thought about it and pulled over, I could have did that in a safe way and it wouldn't have happened, you know. And that's where I stand at. And that's the reason of the room. Please, just, I'm not telling no one, I'm just asking because the room is about these teenagers driving, graduating high school and getting ready to go to college. And they got their whole life ahead of them. And to be respectful and do stuff the safe way. Think it out before you make that step into what you're going to do. Make sure it's safe. If you're seeing it and you feel that it's not safe, don't do it. Please don't do it. That's what my room is about. Thanks, Rachida.
Thank you, Brother Chris, for sharing. Thank you for your wisdom. Because also, in addition to as humans, we're going to make our own mistakes along the way. But if we could also learn from the mistakes of others that have come before us, maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky enough, the mistakes we're going to make are maybe minor compared to the others, and we don't have to suffer as much heartache, misery, despair, which are things that leads to anxiety, depression, suicide, nothing good for that matter. So, if we can help others learn by telling our stories, as much as, as much as it hurts, while we're telling our stories. If it's going to help others, why not? Why not?
Why not, right? Because that just if we could save maybe one, maybe two, maybe more teens from making this mistake, and our parents got, and I wish my parents had sat me down and made me realize and made it sink in, because they've told me this all since I was growing up. And then I become a teenager. I blowed it off because I thought it was a story, but it wasn't a story. It's reality. It is true because they've done it. My dad did it, and he was just lucky to survive all of what he went through. I wasn't so lucky. Somewhere along the line, somebody had to learn from a mistake, and we got to, once we make that mistake, we need to learn from it. And I learned quick because I had everything going. I thought it was on top of the world, and then all of a sudden my life changed because God said, "No, you're going down the wrong road," and didn't realize it. And I had that call, and now I see, because I stood in that hospital. They didn't think I was going to make it, and then I hit a blood clot. And I've told you this before. Blood clot hit me in my lung, and I died. The doctors pronounced me, and I woke up, and Mama told me after I woke up, the doctors don't know how I survived the blood clot, because no one will receive, uh, live through a blood clot. Only 1%, and I was at 1%. And I said, Mama, the only thing I can tell you, God was watching over me. He showed me He could take my life, and He gave me my life back. And I learned that. That's why I made the room, to share this story and get people to understand. Please make aware of your children to understand what our parents has been through and what they have done. Our grandparents done it. Our great grandparents done it. Our dads do it because we follow our parents. Our parents follow their parents. Their parents follow their parents, and it just goes on down.
I want to add something to that, Brother Chris, about following parents. I see this in society day after day after day. It's my observation. Because our parents did it, their parents and their parents and their parents and their parents did it. It's been studied that it goes back, I believe, I want to say either 5 generations, 10 generations. There's a number to it. I forget the number, but a way back, okay?
Goes way.
Our
You're right. You're right.
ancestors. And we have to retrain our brains or minds, or whatever you want to call it, to get out of that frame of mind of a crutch, really. That's what it is. It's a crutch of, they did it, so I do it. They did it, they did it, they did it, they did it, so I'm going to do it. My kids are going to do it. Their kids are going to do it. No, it's our responsibility in this era we're in to break that cycle of what they call
Exactly.
generational trauma. Just because they did it doesn't mean we have to do it. We have the choice, the freedom of choice, to choose to not do it, to be better
That's right.
people. And then by our children and our nieces and our extended family and our communities, our congregations, our cities, our countries, our continents, our world sees us being that good role model example and breaking those cycles, it's going to rub off on them. They will break the cycle in their neighborhood, in their locality, and it spreads. It's a domino effect, yes? A ripple effect. So together, if we are all brave enough to do that, imagine the utopia society we would be living in. Maybe not while all of us here in this room are still alive, but imagine our children's children, children. Don't we owe it to them for a better future?
So
Don't we?
right. You're right on point. Right on point. The cycle needs to break, and it needs to change, because it goes back, like you say. I don't know what the number is either, but it's generations. It goes as far back as we can know. And we do need to break that cycle. We do need to teach our kids to express their feelings and tell what's going on and not hold it in. But we also, in the meantime, need to make them learn to break the cycle and not follow our footsteps. Follow what's in their heart and do what's right. You know,
That's it. What's in their heart. And 9
Exactly.
out of 10 times, what's in their heart is not wrong. It will not steer them astray.
That's
They
right.
just have to be brave enough to tap into that and stay tapped into that long enough to make positive change in the world. Because if they have a sign of it and they get a feeling of, oh, my heart's telling me this, but my teacher says this, or my counselor says this, my parent says this, those are all real world materialistic opinions, not
That's
facts, of what
right.
you should do, not what your heart and soul confirms without a doubt you should do. And those
Right.
two different identities are often at fight with each other. They're at war. They're conflicting like crazy. And that is what stirs up anxiety, depression, suicide, and any other physical health ailment as much as, believe it or not, diabetes, obesity, cancer, stroke. That's to name a few, okay? Migraines, you name it.
You're
Because
right.
your body is physically putting out symptoms based on an internal conflict that it doesn't know how to deal with. And so that's why, as a society, most of us are so sick all the time because we haven't dealt with the layers of onion underneath in the core that is causing all this junk. It's causing
Right.
all of it. But if
Good
we're
point.
just a little brave, just a mustard seed of bravery, that's all it takes. You don't have to change the world in a day. Just take one small step in the right direction. Your small step was speaking up in the audio rooms. Somebody else's small step could be writing a book. Someone else's small step could be, you know what? I trust this one person in my congregation. I may not tell my parents, but I trust this one person in my congregation. I'm going to go talk to them in confidence, in secret, and at least they will get what I'm saying and give me some advice or something. It's
Right.
okay. Confide in who you're comfortable with. It doesn't
Right.
have to be the traditional norms of my parents, my guidance counselor, my pastor. Find who you jive with, who
Right.
you mesh well with, vibe with, and go with it. Because you know what? Your heart, your soul, your intuition is leading you to those people slowly but surely. If you open up to see these signs and really pay attention, the universe will guide you. God will guide you. Your soul, your own personal soul will guide you. But a
Good
lot of
point.
us do not take time to uh, heed those warnings, heed those signs. We're like, brush it off. Oh, it's nothing, whatever. It's just weird. No, everything has a meaning. Everything has a meaning. And that's what part of my story was about is waking up. Do not be stuck in what they think we should be, what they've programmed what we should be and forced down our throats our whole lives. Just because they did it doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean
Right.
it's right.
Right. You're
We
right
have
on
to
point.
awaken ourselves and awaken society in general that that's the way of the past. That's prehistoric. We're in a new era where we get in touch with the feelings inside our soul. Our soul is what's going to be when we leave Earth, not what they thought we should look like, what they thought we should wear, the car we should drive, the house we should get, the job we should have, the career we major in college. None of that superficial nonsense is going to matter. What's going to matter is our souls, our
Right.
deeds, our intentions. What did we do to help the world, our fellow human beings here when we were here? And that's what matters. That's what my take on the book is about. Other people have their own interpretations and own stories. That's why everybody has their own chapter for their own unique story. But the point is that as humans, you got to listen to what's right for you,
Right.
not their expectation of what's right. Because it's just an opinion at the end of the day. Doesn't make it right for you. Sorry to ramble so much, but as you can
No,
see,
you're
guys,
on
I'm
point though.
passionate about this.
Yeah, you're on point though. That's a very good point. You're on point. You know, and like my preacher says, everybody's got their own beliefs. Don't get me wrong,
Yep,
but
yep,
like my preacher says, we deal with our flesh because the flesh is what Satan works on, and
sure
he's the
does.
one keeps pushing this thing. And if we, because in our heart, God puts a spirit. Jesus lives in our heart. He's talking to us. And if we listen to what our heart is saying and not what our flesh is saying, we can overcome it. And what it is Satan, and you know, God knows we're going to fall off, but Satan keeps pushing that button and he keeps telling our brains, no, don't do this. But the heart's telling one side of the brain, that's not right. This is right. What we listening to what our flesh is saying, and then we make that mistake, and we do that, and then that's.
Uh-oh, we lost you, Chris. I don't know what happened, Chris. We lost you. Hope you'll come back. Peter, you can still hear me. Lily, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, not to be so religious, but what he was saying has a point, is that everybody has their own beliefs. That's perfectly fine. That's encouraged.
Mhm.
But whatever you refer to, God, higher power, universe, Allah, Jesus, alayhi salam, peace, blessings upon him, whatever, right? The point is, we as a human have definitely, undoubtedly something above us all. We can agree on that, right? So whatever that entity is above us all gives us little whispers, little signs, little hints, little clues here and there. It could be a number you see somewhere. It could be a word. It could be a dream. It could be, do this, do this, do this. Don't do that. Do this, do this, do this. Don't do that. You know those two little angels that sits on our shoulder all the time? There's a good one and there's a bad one. That bad one, ooh, he won't leave us alone.
I can't
He
hear
will not leave us
y'all.
alone.
Let
I
me
think
leave
you're having
and
an
come
internet
back
problem
in.
again, Chris. Can you come back in?
Yeah, I would jump back.
Can you go and come back in,
Mhm.
please? Thank you. But yeah, that little evil one, he will not leave us alone. That's the Satan whisper in our ear, trying to tempt us so much because he's an enemy of human. He's jealous of us humans because we as humans listened to God and he didn't. So he's jealous. So all the time he'd be whispering bad stuff to us, trying to get us to be depressed, trying to get us to be suicidal, trying to get us to do anything bad so we will not be on the path to heaven. Because he's jealous because he can't get to heaven. So we have to really listen to the good side, all those little influences, whispers, guidance, signs, intuition, whatever you want to call it. The good part, just the goodness. Listen to those and it will keep us on track. And I know from my journey, I can't speak for everybody, but from my own journey, I have to keep reminding myself of these things. As humans, we forget. We can't always remember everything every day, every moment of life. Of course not. We're not computers. Even computers sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, it's freezing up. I gotta restart it." Well, just like a computer or cell phone or some other device needs to recharge or restart, so do we as humans. Restarting, there's many methods: meditation, prayer. Take a hot bubble bath with some essential oils, Epsom salts. Go take a jog. Go work out at the gym. Write. Believe it or not, just write randomly whatever comes from your brain. Just write it out and get it out. There's many ways to recharge ourselves, replenish our energy stores. And Miss Lily was talking about energy earlier. That's a big thing, is because all the negative stuff we see during the course of the day or hear, it could be even stuff that's happening to other people and it's not affecting us personally, but we absorb this negativity to an extent, whether you mean to or not. But we need to recharge to keep the positive in. How about your room about passions and stuff like that? Passions, something that makes us happy, something that's positive. Do more things like that, just for an example, that will help restore you, revitalize you, recharge you to where you're like, you know what? Oh, I feel great. And then if you can have more great days than, ugh, this sucks days, maybe we'll be healthier for it. Hopefully, God willing. And we just have to keep pressing on,
Yeah, it's helpful to don't forget to just smile. Like
Yes, that's too.
waking up and smiling being the first thing you do, or doing something that makes you laugh or smile. Like some stuff I do, I like to listen to music. I like to watch videos that make me laugh, to remind me of the good things and not think of, oh, I'm waking up, I have to drive to work now.
Right. Remind yourself of the good things. You said it, Peter. That's what it's all about, because sometimes we really do forget. We forget that life is beautiful in various different ways. There's little pieces here and there, little elements that pop up and you be like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. We need to open our minds, our hearts, our spirits. And then when we open to those good things more often, that's when our physical bodies can be like, you know what? I'm comfortable. I'm at ease. I feel well. I'm actually well, because we don't have all this negative stuff coming in anymore, or at least to a lower degree, not as much, not as severe. You know what I mean? Chris, can you hear us, brother? Welcome back.
Oh,
Having connection problems again. Hopefully he can rejoin. But yes, you get my point, Peter, right? About like embracing the good stuff and reminding ourselves to keep um, participating in those good things so that we can have good health overall. It's the big picture, not just mental health, physical health, every aspect of health we need to constantly keep working on. Because if we let one go, like let's say, okay, I'm going to work on my physical health. I'm going to go to the gym more often. I'm going to eat more salads. I'm going to physically do what I can to be healthy. But I let the mental side,
sure.
leave that behind and neglect it. I'm still going to be getting sick because I'm neglecting part of my health. Do you know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah, you need to cover every aspects, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, psychological. You need to make sure that you're in check all the time. Just because, like you said, if you let one thing slip, like sometimes I'll get too wrapped up because like part of what I use whenever I'm lifting my weights for exercise is I use negative emotions, which um, may not always be the best thing, but it helps me do what I want to do. But I try to spin it as I'm using those negative emotions towards something positive, making me stronger, making me perform at the time. But yeah, for sure, if you don't keep yourself in check, physically, emotionally, psychologically, um, it will take a toll. Because it has happened to me multiple times where if I don't, especially on the mental side, where I try to say, physically I'm doing great, but then when I think about, well, how am I doing mentally? Not the best. I mean, even myself, not now, and how we've been talking about the room being that it's important to talk about this stuff because we lost a I mean I only knew her from a few rooms. Some people knew her better than others, but I don't know what all circumstances led to what happening to her. um, but it's a good example of what happens because that's part of the buildup to when people think that there's no hope is that they don't talk about what's wrong in their lives, and they decide for whatever number of reasons they don't decide to share it or share enough, and then they leave the world on their own terms. I would like to think way earlier than she ever should have left. um, and so it's an unfortunate example, but how we were talking earlier about learning from other people is that I guess I don't know if you knew Jess very well. I know Michelle did. She mentioned
Yes, I
she
did too.
yeah that
Mhm.
I don't know what all was going on with her, but I can imagine part of it was that she didn't share enough, that she didn't share enough, or just do any number of things. And so, unfortunately, by that unfortunate example, that's what we have to do because we do need to make every generation after us better, regardless of what it is. Because we shouldn't try to make just because things were hard on us doesn't mean we have to keep it going for the next generation. Because that's what I try to do in my own life, whether it's my cousins, the people I work with, my especially my family. Anything that I learned that made me a better version of myself, I like to share with them so that they don't make those mistakes. Especially with my cousins, I made a ton of mistakes when I was younger that I really wish I hadn't made. It's made me to who I am. It gives me the wisdom of what I've got now, um, and so I do my best to not shove it completely down their throats, but I know things that I hope that they never need to learn from experience. I'll tell them the information rather than hopefully them having to learn about it the hard way. Um, but yeah, I think that you need to pay attention to your health in all aspects. Make sure it's all in check. And if you ever need help, you need to be the um, the the person that needs to reach out, because everybody needs help at one point or another. We can't. No one is self-made. That's another thing. Whenever I hear somebody self-made, I would love to hear the definition, because I don't believe there's any such thing as self-made. You know, talk about not only the beginning of life, but every single person you interact with shapes who you are. So, like, self-made millionaires and billionaires of the world, no such thing.
No.
Sorry to burst your bubble. I don't know if it makes them feel better about themselves, but there's no such thing as a self-made person.
You're right on, Peter, because people don't think about it, like all the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into something, but also the people that lifted them up and taught them things along the way and encouraged them. And you never know who had a positive influence on their life, because they don't always tell you that side of it. They just be like, oh, look at me now. You can do this too. But they don't tell you how.
Sure.
They don't share their secrets. They don't share their miracles, if you would, because sometimes it is miracles. Depending on what adversity people overcome, their story is a little bit different from one person to another. And the reason, this is another thing, is the reason we leave the earth when it's our time, only our creator knows that. As we get closer, and as they say, you see your life flash before your eyes, in that split second, you might realize it. But up until that point, we never know why. It could be somebody had, God forbid, an aneurysm, a stroke, a seizure, a medical cause like that. It could be, God forbid, a mental issue that lead them to that. Like you see on the news, that's why I don't watch the news anymore. This person have mental illness. What do? Go shoot up a school. Go shoot up this one. Go shoot up that one. Oh, go sit in front of the train and the train come and kill you, like suicide or whatever. Or they have medical issue. They don't take the medicines and prescriptions the doctor has prescribed. They don't go to the therapy sessions that has been recommended. In going back to the holistic health, they neglected some aspect or even all aspects in some regard of their health, which is coming out in unfortunate events, shootings, suicides, you name it, divorces, because believe it or not, health problems can affect marriages. People don't think of that, right? We wouldn't traditionally think of that, but yes, health problems cause money problems. Money problems cause communication breakdown. Communication breakdown cause divorces. It's all related in one way or the other. So again, talking about these things, telling our stories, whether it's in a book, a movie, a podcast, an audio room, it doesn't matter the vessel it comes about in. What truly matters is that people hear those stories, and not just hear and be like, oh, I read this book, it was good, great, wonderful. No. Did you learn something from it? Can you take that lesson or lessons and share them, like you said, with your family, your cousins, your friends, somebody else in your life that you care about and you truly just want the best for them? Like, I don't want them to hurt like I hurt. I don't want them to learn the hard way. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some people that are stubborn. And you could tell your cousins all you want. Oh, don't do this because this happened to me from this. You could tell them till you're blue in the face, but they might just not listen. Those people, they want to learn the hard way. Okay, fine, pray for them, right? That's all we can do at that point. But those of our cousins and other family that do want to listen and heed our advice for them to be better, at least we can save them. At least we can do that.
For sure.
You know? And that's what these stories are about. Saving people. And not everybody wants to be saved, but not everybody is meant to be saved. And that's another hard thing to learn and accept, to be content with that. Okay, this person doesn't want to be saved for whatever reason. I just leave them to God. I pray for them. Maybe in the future they will turn around and want to be saved. I could hope and pray, but I leave it in God's hands. Let him handle that one. He saves who he wishes. He saves who wants to be saved. So I can't waste my energy and time on those people because I'm not going to change their mind. But the ones that are willing and open and receptive to wanting to change for the better, those are the ones that we need to focus our time and energy on. Chris keeps coming and going. I'm like, what's happening here? Maybe he's having internet connection problem again. I don't know. But yeah, focus on the ones who are receptive to it and who are not stubborn and set in their ways, who will heed our warnings. And those are the people we're going to make the biggest difference in, that they learn the easy way by us just sharing our experiences that we learned the hard way, and hopefully they will not suffer as much as we did. And then I'm hoping that they could, lead by our example and pay it forward to the next generation. Maybe they'll have some cousins or children or anybody in your family, or it doesn't even have to be your family. It could be a neighbor, someone in your congregation, just anybody in the world,
Sure.
anybody that, is open to your advice, your wisdom that you learned the hard way, and they're
Mhm.
willing to learn it the easy way because of you and through you. That many people we could save. So
Mhm.
let's focus on those. And together, we truly could make the world a better place. It's not just a song by Michael Jackson. It's a reality if we're willing to do the hard work to make it happen. And that's what this book is about.
For sure. And being positive of people that are negative towards you, because
Yep.
an unfortunate thing that happens in my line of work is that I reach out to people that don't necessarily apply to jobs, but I say, hey, I've got this job, aligns with your experience. Maybe you like it, maybe you won't, maybe we can help you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will curse me out, like
For
without
trying
me
to
even.
help? For
Yeah,
trying to help. Really?
yeah. It's a weird thing. Like, so, well, the last time this happened, so I just gave him like the good old opening line that I'm hiring for this position. I'm paying X, that's paying X amount. Are you interested in the opportunity? And the guy said, how about you F off? And then hung up the
Oh my
phone.
goodness, how rude.
Yeah.
He could have
So,
declined respectfully, professionally, and politely.
yeah.
Whew.
But even then, is like whenever stuff like that happens, is that I don't fight fire with fire. I say, well, I'm sorry I bothered you. I hope you have a great day. Leave
Kill
it
him
at
with
that.
kindness. Yep. You get
So,
more what is it? You get more flies with honey.
yeah.
Is that what the saying goes?
Yep.
So, our grandmas and people like that teach us, kill them with kindness, honey. They're right on. Like, be nice no matter what, and don't let people's nastiness, the way they treat you, change your innocent, pure, kind, gentle spirit. That
Mhm.
should not be compromised for anyone or anything in the world. Never at any point in your life. And if there are people who are around you like that, get away from them. Get away from them at any costs, because
Mhm.
they will only serve one purpose, and it's
Mhm.
not a good purpose. Their only purpose is to drag you down. That's it. That's what they live for, to drag people down.
Mhm.
And that usually is indicated indicative of a person who has inner work themselves that needs to be done, and they're not brave enough to admit it, vulnerable enough to admit it, and do what we have done, is search your soul, do some therapy, do whatever exercise to come in touch with, okay, why am I feeling this way? What is bothering me so bad that made me feel this way? And what can I do to turn it around? For example, the old Rachida used to say, I can't do this. I can't do this. No matter what this was, it could be any task, right? I can't do this. Instead of saying can't, I began to write things out on a piece of paper, the old school way, pen and paper.
Mhm.
I can't do this. Literally write that negative thought. I can't do this. Scratch it out and put I can in capital, bold, neon, fluorescent letters. I can do this. Exclamation, underline, emphasize this point. I can do this. And then repeatedly say it to yourself. Look in the mirror while you're saying it multiple times a day. They call this affirmation.
Yep.
Reaffirming something, printing it in your brain until you truly believe it and live it. You start to do actions that support that thought or belief that, yes, I can do this.
Mhm.
I just need to know how. So that turning point of I need to know how was the biggest developmental stage for me, because then I saw in my mind's eye there is a possibility. There is a potential. That's the direct opposite of anybody suffering from depression like I did, because depression makes you think there's no way out, and that's where the suicidal tendencies come in.
Mhm.
But if you reframe your mind, and sometimes you need help to do this, that's okay. None of us are perfect. We need help. That's fine. Get the help you need if you can't do it yourself. Get the help you need to start reframing this negative thinking into positive thinking. So
Mhm.
instead of saying, I can't, I can do this. We can do this. And then when you say that we can do this, not only say it, believe it, breathe it, feel it, do it. Okay, I know we can do this, but I don't yet know how we can do this. Let's brainstorm, let's pray, let's meditate, let's explore some options, let's try some new things.
Mhm.
That's the discovery phase. The discovery phase is how you're going to find yourself, your true self. Like, who really are you inside? What do you stand for? What's important to you? What do you really want to do before you leave this earth? I'm not talking about, oh, I want to go on a cruise. I want to have this amount of money. I'm talking about, I want to feed the homeless. I want to build a hospital. I want to dig a well in every country who needs clean water. Big life goals, huh?
Mhm.
And then, okay, who in the world is already doing this?
Mhm.
Those are your mentors. Those are your leaders, people to look up to, people to ask for help. And if they're really kind souls, like we would want them to be, they'll teach you. They'll show you. They'll guide you. They'll
Mhm.
encourage you. They'll support you. And once in a while, they'll be on the long haul with you. They'll be like, I got your back. Anything you need, you call me, you text me, I'm there.
Mhm.
Those are the real good friends. I call them angels, angels in human form, because their purpose, their mission, they're sent down to help us, guide us. All the goodness, all the good things we're after, they provide them.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have a choice. Are we going to be the angels or are we going to be the Satans? Take our pick. I realize there's a little bit of both in each of us, but I would like to think we have more angels in us than Satans in us.
Mhm.
And by the end, our work will be done. That's my sermon, folks. You get my point, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
we
Can
got to
y'all
be
hear
more
me?
good than bad. Yes, we can hear you, Chris. Go ahead. Welcome back, brother.
Well, I'm sorry I missed quite a bit of this. My niece calling that when the phone rings, it cuts everything off. But I'm sorry.
It's all right. We're glad to
Yeah.
have you back. How much did you hear with it coming and going?
Nothing. I didn't hear nothing.
Even
Only
right now?
thing I caught, no, I didn't hear nothing you said. I caught the last of what Peter said about Jess and because I was going to collaborate, and then uh, the phone rang and back to square one. I had to close out and reboot and do everything to get it to work. Because he didn't know Jess as well as you and I know Jess because I just wanted to collaborate. Jess really touched my heart, and I really had, Rachida, I had a hard time with it because we
So
had
did
a
I.
one, yeah, we had a one-on-one. Me and Jess did, and one-on-one with Miss Sherry because she was going to come to our room and tell her story, and I got all of her message that she sent me on the 31st. I sent to her mom, and because her mom was in our room on the 27th of August, and just really touched my heart. I had a hard time with it because she checked on the 31st, on the 28th of August. I might have the date wrong, but I know it was because my birthday was on the 31st, and it was the day, 2 days of before, or maybe I might have the months wrong, but I think it was the last of the end of the month almost. And she texted me and said she wasn't ready to tell her story. And I said, that's fine whenever you get ready. Just give the respect. I just, for her family and stuff, I said, when you get ready, just DM me. I'll be here. And I told her just, remember, because she talked about God, me and her both did. We really talked about it, and she was supposed to have part two with Mr. Ali, and that didn't happen. But whatever was going on, because Crystal called me and she had had a seizure the week before our room was supposed to take place, and she wasn't feeling good. And we moved the room to Sunday because I had 3 days of storm and no electric here. And we moved it to a Sunday, and then she didn't show. But that was okay because we knew she was going through something. And then Sherry called me and told me, and had a real hard time with it because I couldn't figure out what could I have done to save her from doing whatever happened to her, because I was the last one that talked to her at the end of the month, and then her mom came to our room and clarified a lot of stuff. And then she said her mom told us that in our room, I forget who it was, came up to share and said something about suicide. And her mom said, in our room, I don't know if you was there, Rachida.
I heard it. She said, "Don't say that anymore because we're not sure if that's really what caused her departure, and we
That's
need to
right.
honor her soul by not even insinuating that that was the case. We need to honor her memory of what were the good times we had with her, what were the missions and purposes that she was striving for medically or otherwise, and carry on those missions because that's the way to honor her. That's the best way to let her rest in peace."
That's right, because her mom said it was an ongoing investigation on it,
Yep.
and they was
I
waiting
remember
on the
that.
autopsy and however you say that word, anthologies, to come back on her to see if it was an accidental. She may have tripped, or she might have
You
had a
don't know.
seizure.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what exactly happened, but I do know she had said that there was an investigation, but I hadn't heard no more from her. I've been checking on Jess's mom, but Miss Kathy, but I haven't heard anything. I just sent her this week another message and seeing how she was going and how the family was to get. And that was the last I heard from what y'all was talking about. So, and that's what,
Right.
now I don't know what happened in between there, but I was going to say, you said something about something, and I didn't get it, but I thought you said something, and I thought about it. I said it's because I don't remember what you said, but I know I had something that Satan already had us, but when we came over to the light, to God's side, now we hear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now Satan is fighting hard to pull me or you, whoever, whatever your beliefs is, Satan fighting hard now to bring us back. And the more we lean towards God and let God lead us the righteous way, Satan gets very angry and he pushes our buttons more. I don't remember what you said, but you said something, and I thought about that. And I really didn't think about that real good until where I go get my hair cut at. Mr. Doug, Mr. Doug, he was the one said, because we saved now, when we on God's side, we see the light, right? Because Satan already, we over here, Satan already has us because of our flesh. But once we got saved and we saw the light, and more we asked God to lead us in the right direction. And I think, I've said this before, if everybody listen and go by the bylaws of what's in the Bible, we can have a much better world. We can all live together right. And Satan fighting hard now because he don't have us anymore.
It's not
We
just the
over
Bible.
here,
Any holy book, if you really do a study, not
right?
to be religious, but if you really do a study on all the major holy books, they all have the same message.
It's
One
right,
God, one humanity, all
right.
equal. The 10 Commandments, whatever, do not do
They
this,
are,
do
they're
this.
all the
Right or
same,
wrong, morals, ethics, it's the
right?
same thing. It just open up to humans to understand it
Stand
and
it right.
follow it.
To
Most of us don't
follow it, we
follow
supposed
it.
to follow it. We don't
That's the
follow it.
problem.
That's exactly right. And the problem is, and we have, because I'm saying, is that Satan don't have us anymore. So now Peter, he's pushing your buttons. He's pushing your buttons.
All of
Rashida,
our buttons.
he's
Because he's
pushing
jealous
mine,
of humans,
pushing
is
my
what it
wife.
is.
That's
He's
what it
so
is.
jealous of us.
Right. That's right. He's jealous now because we got God giving us the righteous way, and for us to see the light. You see, and I think what's happening is our politicians that we have running our country is causing our problems in the world because they're not passing stuff to benefit the working man. And I think what it is that we got our politicians running our countries has taken a lot of the prayers out of school. How many schools now that you see are, I believe there's one state that still follows the Pledge of Allegiance and does the prayer
I
in
don't know. I don't
school.
have those numbers, but
I
I know
don't
what
have
you
them
mean.
either, but I think it's one state or two states. We're one of the states that don't. But here recently, a bill was passed, and the Ten Commandments was put back in the school, and the prayers were put back in the school, and they're doing putting the flag back out and doing the
Pledge
Pledge of
allegiance.
Allegiance.
Yes.
It's been passed here for our state. Thank God that happened. But
Good.
that's what's happened is because our politicians don't have Christianity in them. We do have one politician that is in the White House, and they've been trying to remove him. He's a real strong Christian guy, and he preaches on that, but they trying to pull him out. I forget what his name is. And I think what we need to do, if and to save the world, we need to make, as we all vote, right? We all need to make a clean sweep and put new politicians in that's going to re-justify and try to straighten out what most of our crooked politicians, excuse me, has taken for granted, because they have taken a lot out, and it makes, and everything they've done is really hurting the working man, and it's really hurting the industry, because people are really hurting it. Things is really, prices are really getting out of way, because the richer are getting richer, the middle class are getting poorer and poorer, and the poor people are already poor. And your elderly people are having to fight hard to make ends meet. And you got your disabled people, your disabled vets that are not being honored because our politicians are passing bills to benefit them. And I think that's wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. This wasn't supposed to come in, but you just triggered it, and I just wanted to share and see what y'all think about what you two think about it, because I think it's very wrong, and we need it. And I think when our politicians go in, instead of them staying in 8 years or whatever amount of time it is, they need to only be in 4 years, and somebody new needs to go in, because I think our politicians stays in too long and they get too comfortable, so they figure they can do whatever they want now, because the people are not going to vote them out. And I think that's what's happening. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's what's happening.
You're not wrong, Chris. My take on it, and Peter, after I hurry up and finish mine, feel free to give your view on it as well. I believe that every perspective, every viewpoint is valid. None of us are wrong. We just have a different way of seeing things, and different never means wrong. I just want to clear that right away. Different never means wrong. Otherwise, God would have made everybody a carbon copy of each other, and life would have been boring as ever, if you get me. So my take on it is, it doesn't have to be one religion or none, one or none, all or nothing. What it should be, and this is my just peaceful way to bring, compromise, is what they call non-denominational or universal, accepting everyone
I
type
think
thing.
so. Right.
Bring that kind of a prayer service into our schools. Bring that kind of a political meeting in our boardrooms and our city councils and senates and whatever. And that kind of environment, if you will, would be the one that is inclusive with everyone, that does not discriminate anyone, that is open for the simple basis that we're all human beings, and that is our commonality. That is our bondage. Just being human. Any other label, religion, color, disability, race, nationality, whatever other defining characteristic, delete it, get rid of it, eliminate it from our brains. Literally, eliminate it from our brains. Because those divisive labels, I'll say that, is what sets us further apart and further from humanity, and brings about more destruction. If you think about it, more destruction in our world, instead of making peace. The biggest peace talkers and ones that sign all these legislation, peace treaties, NATO this, NATO that, United Nations, whatever, the biggest guys up in there, girls, are the biggest humans in there, do not have the philosophy of we are all human beings equal as such. End sentence. My thought is complete.
That's
Just
right.
that simple philosophy.
You're right, because God divided the world for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so nobody could understand their language. But he said we're all equal because God made us all. And you right on point, Miss Rachida.
And then, if these politicians would leave their egos aside, if we really get down to the heart of the matter, leave their egos aside, because their egos is what's saying, oh, listen to the interest of the people that fund my campaign. Listen to the interest of the people that supported me. Hell with them. Excuse my French. Hell with them. Focus on the people, the humanity, the people that need it. It could be, okay, I'm not going to get $1 from this campaign, and I might not be getting that many votes from these people. I don't give a crap. What I care about and focus on is how many people am I going to help? Social justice, humanity, feed the homeless, all the things that it says to do in all of our religions. Are we really doing those things even if we don't get a penny from it? Are we really? That's what they should focus on, not who funded my campaign. Let me listen to what they want to say, even if I know it's not hurting. It's not helping people. It's hurting people, and some cases killing people. Oh, that fires me up so bad. I'm so sorry to take the floor on this, but I must
No,
express
you're on point. You're on point. You're on point.
the urgency and the criticalness of this. It is serious matter that is literally ruining our human lives, literally, because, and I'm not going to be so religious, but the general point of no matter what faith you are, undisputably, you are human. That will never change. You are human. And if we do things always from a human standpoint of, I want to eat, I want to make sure my basic needs are met, food, water, shelter, clothing, and then emotional needs. Oh, I want someone to love me. I want someone to love back. Beyond that, community, belongingness. Beyond that, let me take a little smidget, just a smidget, doesn't have to be much, of what blessings God gave me and share it with those around me. For example, and I always give this example, you have one piece of bread, one shirt, one anything. Cut it in half. Cut it in 4 pieces. If you see 4 people in need, okay, give the 4 people and you take just a little crumb of it. For example, you make it enough to go around. You take a small portion and make sure nobody goes without. That's just an example with the bread. But imagine real world application. If we say, okay, I get X amount of money for my grocery bill. Okay, whatever that is, let's just give a figure for simple math. If I get $100 for my grocery bill, I'm going to take 15 or 20 of that and I'm going to buy groceries for a family in my neighborhood. They didn't ask me for it, but I can see every day that they're struggling. And I know that they would have an easier time if they had at least $20 to do something with, right? That's cereal for the kids. That's rice and beans. If it's not the most elaborate meal, but it's something for them to get by. At the end of the night, when I laid my head on my pillow or I put that fork to my mouth, I'm going to remember I didn't let them go without. Want for your neighbor what you want for yourself. If you want it, they want it too. That's part of being human. Do not ignore them. Do not brush them off. Do not make them feel insignificant or, like you said, this small. Because when people feel that way, that's what makes people depressed or suicidal, God forbid. And that's why I do everything I do, you guys. It's not about me. It is so not about me. It is about us. Us. As a humanity, as a whole. We cannot do any what we do alone. No, we can't. We need God, higher power, whatever faith you believe in. You need that. And you need each other. Because without those two in perfect harmony and combination, you're not going to get far, my friends. You're not going to get far. I can assure you of that. So yeah, again, another sermon. But I have these messages and I need to share it with the world because I forget where I read it, but it was said somewhere that once you yourself have the knowledge and you know the truth, don't be selfish with it. Don't keep it inside. Don't, what do you call? Something with a D. I forget what it means, but don't conceal it. Not a D, a C. Anyway, my letters get mixed up sometimes. But anyway, I shall not let that deter me from the goals. The goal is to speak that information and that knowledge and that truth to others. Let them get a grasp of it. Let them truly understand it, absorb it, implement it in their life. And then it's a ripple effect, their lives around the people around them. And then as we do this in our communities, more than one has to do this, okay? In our communities around the globe, collectively as a whole, we begin to see some progress. We begin to see some change. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen overnight. May not happen completely in our lifetimes here in our little circle, but the children's children, the future generations to come. Remember we said 5 generations back, 10 generations, whatever that number is, multiply the benefits that we're laying the foundation for now, multiply those benefits that many generations forward. And that, my friends, is how big of an influence and a greater impact on this world we can make before we run out of time. None of us are here forever. We need to do this now before we run out of time. Because if we don't do it now, who and when are they going to do it? Maybe nobody else will care if we don't be the leaders, the pioneers, the trailblazers. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Peter, if you want to respond after all my rambling.
Yeah, but you're on point, though. You're on point. You're right on point. Go ahead, Mr. Peter. I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Well, sure. I definitely don't like that they whenever politicians like to talk about the country coming together, and I'm thinking, you've already divided the country between Democrats, Republicans, and whatever other parties are out there. So my 2 cents is that I wish those divisions weren't there. Whether those divisions will ever actually go away, I don't know. It would take me and a whole other bunch of people to be in government to think like me to do away with those lines. But I agree with what's been said about, rather than making it one religion, one whatever, you make it all inclusive. And when we were talking about politics, especially, that's what really got me going, because I'm thinking they try to bring the country together, but it's already divided. You continue to keep these parties alive, and who knows how long they'll last. Maybe they'll keep going forever, maybe they won't. But yeah, my 2 cents is that you need to create as little division as possible, and that starts with the top down, because we think this way, of course, but we got to hit the people at the top that created these divisions and keep them going. Because, like, I guess also, like, just another little thought I had when we were talking about inflation for a half second.
Mm-hmm.
People make the excuses of supply and demand and whatever else. My 2 cents is the people at the very top of the supply chains just want to see a couple extra zeros in their bank accounts. Mm-hmm. Does it really cost you more to create something or to build something? No. But our groceries cost more because where they get it from costs more, and then so on and so forth, until the very person at the very top is like, I mean, it's not like there's God or there's some entity we can't touch that causes these problems. It's the people. It's people that cause the problem, and it's trying to get in touch with them to understand, why are you guys doing this? Because there's a lot of people that have a lot of problems in the world, and every once in a while I hear stories about, with all the money that we've given to whatever, and sometimes ridiculous things that we shouldn't be spending our money on, that we could have put that money towards ending some humanitarian crisis multiple times over. And it makes me wonder, it's, like the war, for instance, that's the thing that I was thinking of. I forget what the numbers are. But then when they were given examples about how many problems that much money would have solved in the world, how many times over, you think that, it's like, why, whether it's whoever is keeping the problem going, it really just makes you wonder, why do they want to continue to make these problems? Why do they want to continue the division in the world? And that's the thing, is that no one's going to have those conversations with them, because they for whatever reason, they want to keep things the way that they are. And worst case scenario, we have to they either have to leave or they'll eventually die. And it's weird to think about that, but it's like worst case scenario, we have to wait for the people that are causing the problems to die. And us that are here currently right now will build up the system however much we can. And then whenever that person's, completely gone, then we can make the differences. But of course, I would like to make those changes sooner rather than later, rather than having to wait. Because when they were talking about some of the ages of the politicians, it's like within the next 20 years or less, all of them are going to be gone. And so then it's like hopefully the generations behind them can pick up the pace and make the world into the better version of what, no war. That sounds good.
Yeah.
World
Great.
peace.
Wonderful.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Do you want to keep killing people? No, I don't.
No.
Do you want people to continue to be hungry? No.
No.
Do you want people to continue to be sick?
No.
No. So it's like I just wonder. It's because it's like because whenever they talk about it, it's like the resources are there. It's just the people that have those resources for whatever reason are deciding for whatever reason to not use them the way that they could. So that's my spiel on a little bit of what we were talking about too.
Thank you so much for sharing, Peter. And I agree wholeheartedly. People like us here in this room, the few of us that have band together, we need to keep doing this. So it's not only us, but our family, the people around us. And I keep stressing this. It's not just us, our family, the people around us. It can grow so much exponentially more into a much better, more positive, beautiful society if we keep pushing towards this cause of world peace and poverty. Can you imagine such a beautiful utopia society? No war, no poverty, nobody hurt. Everybody felt their best and gave their best mutually back and forth to anybody they come in contact with. The kind of a pure soul, just loving soul. If more of us were like that, our children's children, our cousins' cousins, their cousins, their children, keep letting it spread for multiple generations to come. And surely by God's will, the ones that are in these offices ruining our lives now, they'll get out eventually. And even if you and I, these three of us in this room right now, Peter and Chris, if the three of us don't live long enough to see this change happen, by God's will, our children's 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 cousins, maybe just maybe, we'll let them see it. And I'm almost crying because it's so important to me.
And you're right, because you, Rachida, and me, and Mr. Peter, we will never live, we might not live long enough to see this happen, but you're right. Our children's children, our cousins, they're going to see that to make a change. Definitely, And I think the reason we have our high prices and caps is because our politicians have taken that cap off and is letting these people raise prices. Is what's happening. They took the seal. Yeah, they took the seal off because when the seal was there, everybody was living comfortable. Trump was helping our world. Well, I believe we would have come back. But now look where we at right now. And our Democrats are not helping us one bit. Not at all. The Democrats are ruling because there are more Democrats in the White House than we have the Republicans in the House. So the Republicans have no pull because the Democrats are overruling them. And somewhere along the line between us three and the people that are voting need to step up to the plate and say, hey, enough's enough. We need to pull down this and let's bring our stuff where everybody can live comfortable and bring our prices back. Inflation is just way too high. Insurance is, and it all goes because what you said, I think, Mr. Peter, they're all the politicians and higher up are worried about how much money they're going to put in their pocket. That is what they're doing. They're killing programs that can help the elderly people, that helps your veterans, your middle class, people like you and I. They've taken them. When we went to college and moved, we had to pay for our student loans, right? I'm not saying they shouldn't have forgiven during the pandemic. That was okay. But now they're taking that money, because John Kennedy told me this. They're taking these programs that helps everybody, the seniors, the middle class, and moving it over here to pay for the student loans that they are forgiving. Y'all think that's right?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And that's what they're doing. And that needs to be stopped. And we, as the voters, need to say, hey, enough's enough. And we need to speak out, but we're not. We're letting them do this. Somewhere along the line, we need to come to a halt on this and put the seal back on it and bring the prices back down where everything can be comfortable. Interest is so high right now, it's unbearable, you know. But that's my intake, and that's what I think, you know.
Thank you for your perspective, Brother Chris. And I'm right there with you, is that so many politicians, legislatures, whatever you want to call it, doctors, lawyers, insurance companies, all the people in positions of power monetarily don't give a crap about the welfare of the fellow human beings outside of their so-called wealthy circles. What if they got sick? I don't wish it on anybody, okay? God forbid. But what if they got severely sick, couldn't work, lost all the money they had, and they were just as poor as us or even worse? Then maybe they would have a heart for the rest of us and really care about, oh, I'm not going to have a campaign about raising the most money and get more money in my pocket so I can be living the lavish material lifestyle. No, I'm going to take what I need to meet my physical needs just to survive, and then I will take the rest and invest it in the poor people that don't have enough to eat, they don't have shelter, they don't have this, they don't have that. Once all my needs are met, any need that I have met, whatever that is, food, shelter, water, clean drinking water, a job to earn a living, and not earn a living to be the richest person monetarily, earn a living enough for you to survive, and that's it. Not extravagant. Whatever extra money I have after I've done that for myself, invest it in the people that don't have those needs met. The orphanages, they have no parents to provide for them. They go to the streets and have a life of crime and trafficking and God knows what else. Or they go find a gun from the black market and go crazy shooting people because they're like, I need food, I'm going to shoot you because a robbery or whatever. Oh, give me the food. More crime. All this bad stuff is because people don't take the wealth that they've got, share a portion of it. Even you and I, us three in this room, we don't make the most money. I know none of us do. But of what we get, right? Of what we get, thank God, number one. Number two, take a small portion of it. Share it with those in need. If everybody on the planet did that, including and especially these monetarily wealthy people that like, oh, I'm set for life, I'm good, I don't care about anybody else. Selfish, egotistical, fill in the blanks.
That's
even if they did it, especially if they did it, there would not be any poverty. There would not be any homeless people, hunger, all the negative things and struggles you can think of. They would be gone. There would only be positive stuff left in the world. And we could really flourish as a society. Think of if you're your best self, you're healthy, you're happy, you're wealthy to the extent of not overly wealthy, no, not excessively, no. Enough to get you by, you're comfortable, you don't have to worry. Then you could do so much better for the next person in line. And if they did the same thing, the next person in line, the next person in line, the domino effect, the ripple effect, I really believe we could have a beautiful world. Not a care in the world. It would be, oh, let's enjoy the life. Can you imagine? Right now, only heaven is like that. But I'm like, you know what? Between now and heaven, it's our job to make even just a small resemblance of that here on earth. Anyway,
you're
I'm
right,
sorry.
but you're right, but I've always said this before too. I get them to live on what we live on.
They would never make it.
They won't make it. No.
Never.
But
not even a day.
No, they can't. No.
Nope.
Not until they experience what you live, how you and I live, and walk in our shoes. They won't know. But when they close those eyes, do they think they're going to take that with them?
No, not a drop of it.
Not a drop of it. And not a drop of it. All they're going to do is their family going to fight over who's going to get this, how much of this they're going to get, how much money they got left. They're going to fight over it because they left all this because it's not going with them. You know, and I've seen it, and it's happening right now in my right here. My dad's gone, and I'm having to fight with my sister. I told him, I don't worry. I'm not worried about all that money he put over in the credit union. I mean, there's no sense in this. Daddy, no, your mom and dad don't want your siblings fighting over it. It's supposed to be equal, but no, it's not. And it's happening right here with me. It's happened to some of my family. I'm sure y'all have had it. Y'all have seen what I'm talking about. And it shouldn't be that way. That's not how we're supposed to live. But that goes back to saying that's what Satan's doing. You see, that is exactly what Satan's doing. And he's making one. It only takes one to do it. And you got the whole family in the uproar. Now you have sister and brothers, aunts and uncles. They're not talking because of one. Everybody is supposed to be equal. And that's the way we're supposed to be. You know, and it doesn't work that way. You know, and it's a shame because I don't make much. My wife don't work no more. She's here because she got 2 more years after next year. She'll draw her retirement, and then we might start living comfortable. But when we close our eyes, there's not going to be nothing to fight over. Because I told her, why are we saving this money like our grandparents did? My grandma and grandpa died. We had no idea. They had put money in the bank, in a vault, and my dad found a toolbox, almost $50,000. They never enjoyed their life. Never enjoyed their life. They saved all that money.
For what?
My daddy only had, there was only 3 brothers, him and my uncle right here. My uncle lived in Baton Rouge. And I got to say, that was the most peaceful split I have ever seen between my dad and his 2 brothers. They didn't fight over one thing. Why couldn't that have happened with me and my sister? Why did she have to be the one that wants to be the rooster of everything? That's not how it is. The day after my dad died, and I got the paper in the mail from the lawyer, I blew up. Things were said, shouldn't have been said, and it was wrong because I read the paper and I didn't think with my heart. And I've been hurting ever since because I said it, but I can't take it back because I felt like they hated me so much, you know. And my mom knew better, and my sister knew better. But my mom wasn't in her right state of mind to run to a lawyer. Not the next day. That should have waited way down the line. And we didn't have to go. But she did it. Nothing I can do now. The only thing I can do now is I told my wife, sit here and wait and see when we're going to get served with paper to see where we're going to live at now because of the way things was done. That's not supposed to happen, and it does happen, and it's hard. And I don't wish nobody to go through that, you know. And that's that's the kind of stuff that goes on. And our politicians are doing the same thing to us. they are, and these Democrats are just hurting everybody.
That's part of what, when they say this book is called A Rebel with a Cause, it's not just a book for entertainment. Entertainment, yeah, fine, but more so of challenging all the stuff that came before us and the stuff that's still going on. And again, I keep going back to this, just because that's how they did it and how they are doing it doesn't mean that it's right, and doesn't mean that's how we are supposed to repeat it, or the people after us is supposed to repeat it. We're supposed to break it so the people after us, keep it broken so we can fix it for the better. Because if we keep always making ourselves susceptible to the way it was, the way it was, the way it was, and the way it is, instead of how it could be and should be, we're never going to make any lasting progress. It's always going to revert back and relapse to, oh, well, we're stuck in this rut again. We're stuck in this rut again. We need to challenge or rebel, stand up against and challenge all the stuff they've been cramming down our throats our whole lives. Because guess what? All the stuff they've been cramming down, their moral is one thing. Their motivation is money, dollar signs, nothing more. They don't give a crap about a human life, or even animals for that matter. You know how many people have animals and they get abused or killed or what? Oh my God, don't get me started. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Humans,
We need a change.
animals, the environment, any life form should be respected, not sold out, and literally sold out for freaking money. Excuse my French. That's all it comes down to. All they care about is money. But you know what? Money can still come to them, or come to any of us, God willing, if we lead with our hearts, number one, in anything we do. God sees that you share what you have, He'll give you more and more and more. And guess what you can do with more? Share it with even more people. And they'll be like, oh, somebody was actually nice and human enough to share? Let me share it with the next one that comes after me, because I'm not poor anymore. Let me share it with somebody else. And it's going to keep ripple effect, keep happening one by one until we change the world. But if we just be like, oh, well, that's just the way it is. Oh, well, we just got to deal with it. We're just stuck with it. Oh, hell no, excuse my French. I don't settle for that. And I hope you guys don't settle for it either. Don't allow your family and friends and environment, communities to settle for it. Do not settle. Stand up. Stand up. Challenge. Challenge them. Otherwise, we're never going to get out of this rut. Never. We will be stuck the way they want us to be stuck, down, low, end of the totem pole, whatever you want to call it, while they keep getting up monetarily and get everything over us because of the money. No. Money will come as an icing on the cake, an added benefit, an added blessing. If we truly lead with our hearts and make that our only motivation in life, our only motivation in life, then we will see the dollar signs. Then we will see, oh, we can go on a vacation anytime we want. You can be comfortable living, but not excessive living where your ego takes over. And that's exactly what's wrong with most people in society. They get excessive living from the money that they're blessed with, instead of helping other people with a portion of that money. You don't have to give everything away, just a portion of that money. That's all we're asking, just a portion. Instead of that, they let their ego take over and they get richer with money, poorer with karmic, poorer with ethics, poorer with morals, poorer with humanity. That side of their life is in the negative, in the red. Their scale is going to be like, here's the scales, right? I don't know if you can see my hands, but I don't know if you can see it. Pretend this is the positive scale or this is the negative scale. Well, the way you guys are seeing it, this is the positive, this is the negative. You get my point. This one's got to go way up. This one's got to go way down. They have it backwards. Their monetarily worldly crap is up here, and their morals and ethics is way in the red down here. Their karmic account is, screwed up. Screwed up. They need to reverse it. You see? Important priorities in life. The humanitarian thing to do. You get my point, right? With my messy hand graphics, analogy, example, whatever. But you get my point. That's the only way we're going to bring about change. And that's what this book is about. It's just one project that we're involved in. Just one. Aimed at changing people's hearts. When you change their hearts, You can change the way they act, the way they think, the way they talk, the way they live into a better person. And then they help other people to be better people. And then together, when we have a lot of better people coming together, guess what that forms, my friends? A better world, a better planet, a better universe, a better galaxy, better, oh my God, anything you could even try to imagine? All better. All better. Instead of getting worse. That's what we're at now. It's getting worse if we allow it to get worse. But if we refuse to allow it to get worse, like I refuse to do, maybe you will join me. Refuse to allow it to get worse and challenge these selfish people in high positions of authority, only there because of money. They're not there because of their values, morals, ethics, and humanitarian efforts. Challenge them and get them out of here. Like Peter said, it might not happen in our lifetime, but maybe, just maybe, our cousins, children will be lucky enough, blessed enough to see it. And I don't know about you guys, but I am willing to put the blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice in now while I'm still living, breathing, kicking, all my five senses available to me, praise the Lord, to do the work. It's not easy, it's hard, but it is necessary. Necessary for a better future for our future generations. We owe it to them, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this book is about in a nutshell. When you get down to the core of why we're really here, the bigger picture, that's what it's about. Rebelling up against everything they say is right, everything they try to buy their way out with money, like, or buy into for that matter with money. Money doesn't solve everything. It helps, but it's not everything. Instead of money, we should focus on the morals of things, the humanity of things, the heart of the heart. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the book's about. It's not just a book. It's to get people to start thinking the right way, acting the right way, standing up for things. Don't be afraid. Don't be guilty. Don't be ashamed. All that is negative. That's just going to bring us down. Again, that's what Satan wants. Bring us down. Keep us down. I refuse to be kept down, and I refuse to allow my friends and family and fellow brothers and sisters around me to be kept down. We might all fall a little, but we lift each other back up if we are so willing to stick together. That's what's wrong, is that people fall off the bandwagon and they lose interest or whatever. They'll be like, no, I'm going to give in to this little Satan whispering in my ear. I'm not going to do what I know is right. And then they go down. Then they try, and while they're down, drag someone else down with them instead of, why am I down? What do I need to work on to get back up? And how can I help other people get back up so we can stay up together? No, they don't care. They'll be like, I'm in misery. You're going to be miserable too. They don't care. But I care. You guys care. I'm sure you know somebody else that cares. We got to stick together. We got to stand up. Otherwise, society as we know it, I'm afraid to say, my friends, is going to be doomed. Really going to be doomed in every sense of the word. So it's our choice. Doomdom or glory. Choice is ours. We always have a choice.
Yep. We need a change.
That's my thoughts. Go ahead, guys. Your feedback.
Yep, we need a change, a big change, you know. It goes back to, I believe, what Peter and y'all both were saying about war. We need a peace. Why can't the countries come together like they did with the Indians, sign a peace treaty? That way
Peace treaty, yep.
save lives instead of trying to one country trying to control the other country or other country. And we got people in our own states and our own things we need to take care of first. Let's feed what we got here, and then we can send to what countries that need help to feed them. You know, I'm not saying it's not, we shouldn't. That's what God wants us to do. That's what America is built on. And that's what we should do. You know, and it just an example is, was it 2 years ago, London? Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? So when we was at that dollar store and this woman walked up and handed us $300. 2 years ago, a woman handed us $300 $1 bill. She said, help somebody like I helped y'all with 3 $100 bills.
Mm.
I looked at my wife. I looked at them 3. I had doubts. Don't get me wrong. Were they real or were they artificial? Not
I don't
not
know.
artificial, but counterfeit. We went to the bank, and we know a lady works in the bank. She checked them. 3 $100 bills were real.
Mm.
They were
Mm.
real. So Linda looked at me and I looked at her. God sent a message, right? Gave one to the teller that helped us. I brought 1 home. We brought 2 home, and I gave her who? Right, I'm talking. And I gave my mom 1, and then the one I had left, I paid Robbie, my mechanic. I gave him the other one.
The point was you shared it. And that's exactly what we should do. Take a
Right,
portion
I
of what
did
we
what
have
I thought.
and share it.
I did what I thought should have been right, because easy came, easy go,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what we did, and that's what Peter was talking about. We're spending all this money. Why don't we help our people first
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and feed our people? We got the homeless, we got our vets, we got our seniors, we got our
Mm-hmm.
elderly. I mean, the middle class, you're poor, you're disabled. Why don't we take care of them first? Because we need this change, and then we can start and produce to countries that are hurting, that do need help. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but do that. We need a big change. You know, that's what I'm saying we need to do. And
You're absolutely right.
You know,
And
what you think, Peter?
yeah, go ahead, Peter. We would like to hear what you think. What's your take on it?
I think it's good that you guys had that little thing. You had your little test, Chris, to see you're given $300. What are you going to do with it? And you
Right.
decided to do a good thing and share it with people rather than just keep it all to yourself. And so that's something that everybody should do. I mean, so one thing I do, so it's little, but I hope the money goes to something actually important. So I don't know if y'all are familiar with Tom Thumb. They're a grocery store, and at the end, at least whenever I go, they always ask at the end, are you willing to give it gives you like $5, $7, $10, whatever. I always just click whatever's the biggest amount, and I give that to something else, and then also just in general. So I mean, something that I like to keep up with. So we did this ambassador program where it was back in high school, where you're supposed to get 100 hours of community service. Did a whole bunch of different things, and then because of that, and we also did this thing called Second Saturdays Moms and Sons, where moms and sons would go out and do charity work as well. And because of those things I had in the past, whenever I see somebody that's struggling with something, I'll help them out with whatever. I mean, just to be a little bit extra generous. So my parents' anniversary was this past weekend, and I decided to be nice and give the waitress a 50% tip. She probably wasn't expecting that. And then little tips too. Also, like whenever I go out at Christmas time, I'll give the waitress like $100 tip to be nice, and give maybe a little bit of extra thing. And the lady that cuts my hair, she had probably the biggest reaction whenever I gave her $100 tip. She was like, "Really?" Because it's because like the haircut, my haircuts themselves are like $20, so she wasn't expecting $100 tip. But it's like she has a really nice job for me, and she's always really kind to me. So I figured this can probably go further for her than it can for me. So yeah, for sure, being able to spend your money and give both your time and your money towards things that may not look as good as where you are in life, is something that everybody should do. And it's not like you have to give everything away, but just giving away a portion of your money, portion of your time to help somebody out is it can that's what I like to do in general is be it says in my LinkedIn, be the positive impact the world needs, and you have to show it. So just being nice, doing little acts of random kindness to people will help things move along to a lot better future.
Amen, Peter. I commend you, my brother. I commend you 1,000%. You're the shining example of what I've been talking about. You don't have to give all of it away, just a portion. It
That's
a
right.
little goes a long way. You know, what could be pennies to us could be like a zillion to them. You never know how much of a difference it can make in somebody's life. Because for every hardship we have, there's somebody else or probably multiple people that has it far worse than we ever fared. So if each of us think this way about, okay, I've been blessed enough, God was nice enough to give me these blessings, I appreciate that. Hope he continues to give me blessings. But part of the continue to give blessings is share a portion of what you've got with those who need it the most. And like you said, time and money, it doesn't take, 2 seconds to give an extra tip a bigger amount? It takes 2 seconds to go sit with someone at an orphanage or a nursing home to keep them company so they don't feel alone and depressed and suicidal? 2 minutes to go take some groceries and deliver them to, I don't know, a food pantry or something. You get my point, right? A small thing to us, big gesture to them. Random acts of kindness. It could be anywhere, anybody on the face of the planet. But like Brother Chris said, yes, it's imperative that we start with our own little circles first. Our families, our immediate extended family, our neighborhoods, our cities, our countries, our continents, then our entire globe. It's a building block, a building process. Certain levels first. And this is a little teaser to the event I've got coming on Saturday with Dr. Anjan. You guys know Dr. Anjan by now, right?
Yep.
He's a medical doctor, and he does so much more for humanitarian. You know how many people that needed treatment or medicine or whatever for whatever health ailment they have, that he's like, you know what? I know you can't afford it. Out of the goodness of my heart, one human being to another, I'm going to give you this treatment and this medicine, whatever you need, for free, simply to save your life. That's his portion of sharing with the world. You and I, it might be, okay, we just go get some groceries delivered, or we give an extra generous gratuity when we've had a meal or something. Or the person that gets your luggage at the airport, there's someone that has to get it off the plane and put it on that conveyor belt thing, right? Right? The luggage claims, what they call it. Somebody has to put it there or it's not going to get there. Hey, I see you doing this. Here, let me give you a tip. I know it's not required, but I appreciate you enough. Here, let me give you a little something for, helping all of us. These little small gestures here and there make a difference, but we've got to do it at certain levels. And these certain levels, like our family first, then our neighborhood, then the continent, then the world, these levels in this order is what they refer to in psychology as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow, he's one of these psychologists, philosophers, big person on doing what's right for humans. And he made this process, which I'll explain to you guys in further detail on Saturday, but it talks about everything we've been talking about today. Helping. And it's certain levels. First, you help yourself if you can. If not, ask for help from others to help you. Your physical needs are met: food, shelter, water, clothing, etc. Once those needs are met, go to the emotional needs. Do I feel healthy enough to be like, oh, I've eaten, I've drank clean water or milk or juice or whatever, I've worked out, I've this, I've that. My physical needs are met in such a way that I feel good, I feel well. Okay, I can take that wellness, that energy, and feel good about it and invest in emotional connections with other people. That's the emotional level. Once you do that, like we're doing now, this little room, event, stream, whatever, we're investing our emotional connections with one another. We're sharing feelings. We're sharing ideas and thoughts. Those are emotional connections. And it's not just us here. Anybody in the world can connect emotionally if they're open enough to do it and, give their heart. So then that's that level, emotional belonging or emotional needs. And then from bonding with folks, like how we're bonding now, that's just one way to bond, but in general, human bonding, human connection, then the next level that is fulfilled as a result of that human bonding, guess what that is? Self-esteem. Self-esteem. You didn't get there by yourself, no. But the human bonding and connections you have formed feeds into boosting your self-esteem, boosting your confidence to be like, I'm a part of a great community here. Look what we're doing together. We're trying to change the world. And God willing, will change the world, by the way. And then that grows your self-esteem. When your self-esteem grows, you've got everything you need physically, psychologically, emotionally, morally, all your needs in every facet of the word. All your needs are met. And then here's the best part. The top layer, the self-actualization is what they call it. You actualize, you realize all your needs are met. So now your turn to give back to humanity as a whole. Then you can help not just yourself, but your family, your neighbor, your colleague, your person in your congregation, and it keeps going up from there. Every continent has somebody like us that has their needs already met. If everybody on every continent come together and be like, my needs are met, let me share a portion with the next one so their needs will be met. And then when they're good and, prime condition of their life, let them give something to the next one and the next one and the next one. Again, ripple effect. And by doing that, we have that self-sacrifice that, okay, my needs are met. I don't need to be selfish and keep all this extra like so many egotistical, monetarily rich people do. No, share the extra with the others so they can be better and we make everybody better together. Then that self-actualization turns into humanity. Humanity is the biggest moral intention or endeavor you can ever embark on. And I say that because you've got to have a good intention, a good heart, a good soul to take those actions. If you do not have a good heart or good soul constantly, you're not going to do good in the world. You're just going to try to drag people down, and then you will be on Satan's path, which I don't wish that for any of us. May God guide us all in the right path, no matter what religion that comes out in, no matter what career that comes out in, no matter what community that comes out in, what language. None of that matters. What matters is that it comes out to benefit the greater humanity and common good as a whole. We don't discriminate any part of our humanity. We don't discriminate anyone from any corner of the world. We help anybody who needs it, but again, helping those around us first, then building up from there. These are building blocks, you see. And then by the time end of time comes, God willing, my hope and my sincerest prayer is that each of us will have done enough to make a difference. And then that builds what I call your karmic bank account. You do what's right, it comes back to you. You do what's right over the course of our whole lives. Imagine the level of heaven we would attain. Only God knows. I cannot fathom. But it's beautiful, I know that. It's worth it, I know that. And it's our job to strive for that by helping others, not by, oh God, please give this to me. Please give this to me. Yeah, it's okay to pray and wish for good things for yourself, but not just yourself. There's the difference. Not just yourself, others as well. So that's why I do everything I do, you guys. It's not about me. It's about us as a whole. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up here, I do have to prepare for another event I have coming up. But do you guys have any final thoughts? Anything on your hearts whatsoever? Let it be spoken.
I hope that the book release goes well. Hope that a lot of people get it for themselves and read, and hopefully this book will help make the world a better place.
Amen. God willing. That's all I could hope for. And it's just one project, the book. There's many other ways we can do this. The point of getting the voice out there so other people can learn from it, implement it, and be better people. Once we, as a society, commit to being better people and actually do it, then we will be role models for the next generation. And I keep preaching this, the generation after the generation after the generation after the generation, because like Whitney Houston said in her song, Greatest Love of All, I believe in the children. They are our future. She's absolutely right.
Mhm.
Because if we don't try hard enough now, they won't have any future. It'll all be negative. It'll all be doomed. Do we really want that for them?
Nope.
Deep down in our hearts? Of course not.
Mhm.
So that's why we do projects like this, to bring awareness, so that as a human society, we can wake up, do the right things, be the right humans we need to be that positive change in the world. And I'm never going to stop portraying this message and driving it home to as many people as I can until the day I die. And even after I die, I would hope that the people that did learn from me while I was on the earth still pass this torch forward to the next generation. Even more of a ripple effect. That's why I said
Sure.
us three here might not see the change in our lifetime immediately, but we're putting in the work and the foundation now, so that, God willing, our cousins, our children's children, by God's grace and will live to see that change. That's all we can hope for, my friends.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Right on point.
So yeah, as you can see, when I get passionate about something, I go on and on and on and on and on and on, and she's never going to stop talking on. But there's a big intention behind healing the world, literally healing the world.
It is, and you need to, God put us all through testing. We all on a test, and we should do by what He wants us to do,
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Adam and Eve, when they were created, if they'd have just did what God asked them to do when they was in the Eden, instead of Eve pursuing with the serpent, told her not to eat the forbidden fruit, we wouldn't have the pain that we are having, the suffering that we are having, and we wouldn't be living in this negative world that we're living in, because I think that's where it starts. But if we could take and these people that are negative over here, that are negative, and turn them in, like you say, to positive, get our positives up here high and bring
Mm-hmm.
that negative down low,
Mm-hmm.
then we can make this change in our world, and that's what we need to do. And for your audio book, I hope y'all luck. I hope people start to read and would open their eyes and make a change to them in their life, and it changes them. Start thinking from their heart and not from the flesh, what Satan is, and not from what the brain. We all need our brain to think with, but when we think it, we need to realize it's got to come from the heart, and that's what I hope. And good luck.
Amen, Brother Chris. From the heart.
From
And
the
all
heart.
of these audio rooms we're in, all three of us and many more people in our families and circles seem to have such common messages, is from the heart, from the soul.
And that's why I say, I don't mean to sound like a broken record.
Oh no, me too.
I say God bless and have a blessed day.
Yeah.
And
That's just
you the
peace.
one, peace and blessings and optimistic. That's your credit. It's in the Bible too, but it's your credit, and I love the way you use that. But I mean, when I say it, I want someone to be blessed from my blessing, and it comes from the heart, always from my heart. And that's why I say it, but I don't mean to be a broken record, or when I'm talking and I'm typing and I say it at the end all the time, at the end
Me
of
too.
every message. Maybe I say it too regular, but when I end, I just want to make sure that they are blessed.
It's never too much of a good thing in that regard. There could be, oh, you ate too much of this one ingredient, you have too much of this vitamin in your body. Okay, fine. But there's never too much kindness. Never.
Mhm.
Never too much peace. These are the driving force of a better world. We must hold on to them with every fiber of our being. For if we neglect them and let them fall behind, we will not have any good examples for the generations to come. They are very influenced by what they hear and see us do.
Mhm.
Monkey see, monkey do. They
Right.
imprint everything they do modeled after us. And we must be the good examples. So they model after us good behaviors, good morals and ethics, good human decency. regardless of whatever faith we're in, regardless of whatever country we're in. Again, going back to the point, we're all humans. Human decency. It's not hard. We just have to be human enough to be in touch with our hearts and our souls and listen to it. My God, listen to it. Don't ignore it and brush it off. Oh, maybe next time. Well, that's too far to drive. Or, oh, well, forget the excuses. Forget the excuses. Be kind regardless. Regardless. And then if we all thought that way and acted that way, we wouldn't have any problems in the world. We
We have
wouldn't.
a much better world.
We sure would. So yeah, I will have to end this here a couple minutes. You guys, I'm sorry I have to prepare for another event, but it's all aimed at helping each other. And that's my message again, till the day I die, is to help each other.
If
Thank
we
you
can
both.
do what if all like us three right here, showing this kindness, showing this love, we can pass this on and pass the torch on. That when we're gone, we can make a change. And even if 3 people get it, we have changed 3 lives. Maybe
got
those
it.
3 can get someone else, and they would change those 3. As 6 people has went down, that the torch is passed, and you're right.
Amen, Brother Chris. That's what it's all about. Paying it forward. Do not get caught up in monetarily worldly payments. Pay it forward with the good deeds. The deeds are the best currency we'll ever have. The best. We can take those with us, the deeds. We
Right, if we
cannot
don't
take
pass
dollar
it on,
bills.
you're right. When God calls odd numbers and we're gone, if we don't pass this torch, it dies with us 3.
Yep.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is where it ends if we don't spread it out and make
Exactly.
the change. And that's what
Right.
we have to do.
We got a lot of work ahead of us, you guys. We sure do.
Yep. You're right.
But
You're right.
if we, like I said, we ever hope to have a better society for our cousins, and children, we got to make these sacrifices and lay these foundations now. We've got to. We can't afford not to.
Right.
Our future generations can't afford us not to. We've got to be the leaders. We've got to be the starting point of this change. Because if we don't do it, nobody will.
Right. You're right. We all got to communicate together. And communication and talk and spreading is what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't do that, it dies.
Exactly.
Right here, it dies. It does.
Yep.
And that's I think it just goes back to we're not enough of us talking and communication. We have to break that cycle of what we was taught and to lead it forward and make the change. And we do need to make the change. We do need to make this big change.
Thank you, Brother Chris, and thank you, Brother Peter. Do you have any final thoughts, Brother Peter, before we wrap up for the evening?
Thanks for the great talk, and until next time, be blessed.
You too.
You
Peace and
too.
blessings
Thank
upon
you.
both
God
of
bless.
you.
Hugs and
Thank you
love
for
to y'all.
coming. And most of all, thank you for having beautiful hearts and souls, and keep hold of those. Do not compromise those for anyone or anything in this worldly life, my friends. Nothing is worth compromising your soul and your heart.
Absolutely.
I'll leave you with that. Peace and blessings, guys. See you
God
next
bless
time.
y'all. Hugs and love.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.